Welcome everybody to another episode of Music Cities Conversations. Today we have a rainy day here in Barcelona. I'm working from home, as I assume most of you are. And we are joined today by Natalia Bayona from UNWTO. Hi Natalia, how are you?
Hi Camila, it's my pleasure to be here today.
It's my pleasure to have you. So Natalia, can you please explain a little bit about yourself, about what you do?
Yeah, of course. Okay, I'm Colombian, and I've been working in tourism all my professional life, so 13 years working in the tourism sector in different fields, but basically with the public sector. So I used to work in the marketing team in order to change Colombia's image abroad. Then I had the possibility to live in Taiwan, in Chile, in Argentina, in Portugal, with ProColombia, that is the tourism board of my country. And then after those, that experience that was really spectacular for me, I had the pleasure to come back to Madrid. I come back because at first I did my executive MBA here at IE University, and I studied innovation and digital transformation as well. So today I have a very nice job. So basically I am in charge of leading all the innovation, digital transformation, and investment strategy of the United Nations World Tourism Organization. So we do whatever is possible in order to help to empower entrepreneurs, the innovation ecosystem, and of course, to make digital platforms that can help us in the tourism sector to help people to gain new skills in this digital era. And of course, to foster investments, not only traditional investments, but also innovation investments, in order to act as doors openers between the private sector and the public sector that are represented in 160 ministries of economy or tourism that are part of the organization.
And Natalia, how is coronavirus impacting tourism and music tourism in particular?
Okay, so I have to say that we have today a new reality. So tourism has been facing 10 years growth. So it's the only economic sector that was facing that incredible growth. Second of all, we had the last year 1.5 billion tourists. So it was a spectacular growth. Nonetheless, when you see the different crises, we had SARS crisis, and in that times, tourism decreased in minus 0.4. Then during the international global crisis in 2008, tourism decreases in minus 4%. But COVID-19, as it's really different, of course, we expect that the tourism sector will decrease from minus 20 to minus 30%. So it our expectations is like decreasing in 440 million tourists less in the international atmosphere, and on the other side we will have a sector that will be really affecting a lot of jobs, and that's our main concern today. Because I don't know if you know, but the tourism sector is the economic sector that employs the most number of women and youth all around the world. So we have to really take care of this. Regarding music, and I have to say another thing before I go to music and music tourism. When you see the map of the world, before March, we were an open globe. Since March, 98% of the globe is closed. So with no borders, there is no tourism. And of course, we have to improve. That's another of our priorities, to help to open doors or to open borders as soon as possible. responsibility and with security, but that would be a strong challenge in order to have the tourism on board again. When we talk about music, music for good or for bad is it's a sector that joins a lot of efforts and of course that help people to join. So I don't know if you have seen, but the last week there was a super strong online concert with a lot of international musicians and very famous people from the music sector.
Global
And
citizen.
yeah, and it doesn't matter if it's reggaeton, if it's jazz, if it's rock. It doesn't matter where you are from. The good thing is that everyone is joining efforts more than ever to help and to join efforts to um, to help to be stronger after this pandemic. Nonetheless, we have to be very clear that, for example, when you go to music festivals and events, those are really affected because before and after COVID-19, we won't have in the near future those massive concerts or those massive events that we used to have in the past. So this is very important because we have to act really innovative in order to help those convention centers, those stadiums, those places where those concerts and festivals used to be, in order to help them to improve their innovation. But of course, those developers of events or the professional organizers of events need uh, our help as well because they would really need to innovate in order to have in at least in the short time or in the short term to have digital festivals paying. Of course people will pay, but of course they won't pay the same as it's in a face-to-face, because of course we are humans and we need that touch from all the spectacles and everything, but by far is one of the most affected. And on the other side is the sector that is acting or leading by example with solidarity in order to join efforts not only for music and tourism, but also for health and other challenges that we are facing today.
And you touched a little bit on how the UNWTO is fighting back by love. If you could expand on that.
Yeah, regarding COVID-19, we have like four strong actions. First one, we created a global crisis committee in order to bring together the international organizations that are in charge of not only tourism but also regulatory affairs like the WHO, ICAO, IATA, that can help us, the International Association of Airports, that can help us to develop some guidelines regarding where we are. And on the other side, we have, of course, the representation of our ministers. So we're working together. We meet every 15 days in order to see where we are and what is needed in order to recover the sector. Second of all, we developed as the UNWTO a package of 23 recommendations to help public and private sector to implement them in order to recover and to mitigate the impact of COVID-19 on tourism. And third of all, we are developing a challenge. It ends tomorrow, and basically the Healing Solutions Tourism Challenge. It is a global call that aims to have all the innovators, startups, corporates that are working on strong solutions to be implemented on tourism regarding recovery of destinations, recovery of the economic sector, of course, the economy, and regarding safety and security for tourists. So we have received almost 1,000 applications from more than 100 countries only in 2 weeks. So we're really excited in evaluating them because the finalists would have the opportunity to present this to the ministers of all around the world and of course the Secretary General in order to implement those solutions to recover the sector. And last but not least, what we are doing regarding communications is we have to be strong more than ever communicating about tourism sector because mm, tourism nowadays is sleeping or is on vacation, we can say. But we cannot say that tourism have died. So that's why we have to be stronger, talking, promoting digitally the different destinations, the different strong and positive things that tourism has in the economy in order to support all the voices and to help the most vulnerable, like the autonomous or independent employees, the SMEs, the tourism guides, and of course those that need our help during this situation.
And Natalia, you work for the Innovation and Digital Transformation Department, and I'd like to ask you, how do you see the relationship between technology and tourism developing in this context?
I think the world was digital, before COVID-19, but nowadays the world is becoming more and more digital. So I am I am an ambassador of technology because I think in the tourism sector, that is the most human sector, economic sector in the world, um, those skills are really needed today to help on tourism recovery. Because of course, I give you some examples. From one day to the other, education became online. So in that way, we have the Tourism Online Academy, that is the first online platform focused on giving digital skills for people that wants to work in tourism. So nowadays, only in 1 month, we had more than 2,000 new students enrolling the courses. So that tells you how people that are at home today need a lot of new opportunities, and of course, online courses, webinars, having digital skills in different technologies, for example, in managing cybersecurity, for developing close online meetings. For example, when you are working with politicians or with people that needs a lot of security. So those new profiles are necessary, or blockchain for developing new platforms, or data scientists to analyze big data, dashboards and platforms that are created in order to predict the movements of tourists. For example, when you see Emirates, that is the first airline that is doing massive tests, of course, that's the use of technology and on innovation, of course, because Emirates is an airline, so they don't have to do any tests because they are not from the health sector, but because they need to fly again, they have to innovate not only with technology, but also with the processes in order to move forward and to make this easier.
Well, Natalia, to finish with, I'd like to ask you which song has been getting you through this situation, has been helping you.
Okay, I have to say that I love music, but
Mhm.
of course I love my roots. So because I'm Colombian, of course I love Colombian music. So I can say that Carlos Vives is one of my main partners during this pandemia, and of course Shakira. But I have to say that when you do exercise with Carlos Vives, or when you are working with those songs, from the Colombian rhythms. It reminds me my family. It reminds me my roots. So I'm here in Madrid, but I feel more Colombian than ever when I have the opportunity to open my mind and listen them one day by day.
Music makes you travel.
Yeah, totally.
Well, Natalia, thank you so much for all your work and also for your time. And it was great chatting with you.
It's amazing. To be honest, it's our pleasure as a UN agency to be here with you. And of course, everything that we can do in order to have a strong efforts and to recover together tourism, we are in, and count on me for anything you need.
Thank you so much. Take care.
Take care. Bye.